Hey guys, okay, so I'm creating this video just so you can see a little bit of like what I'm going to be discussing or talking about or working with you on your video in class. So right now, you notice that this is just a video with a camera, with my iPhone camera, but the video that you'll be getting or will be working with will have better lighting and also better sound. So the sound will be a little warmer because you'll be closer to the mic and you'll be talking and you'll have a lot of things to work with there. And then the lighting will hopefully also be a little bit better, so that we'll be starting with a video that has good sound and good lighting. From that point on, we're going to be using the media that you capture to kind of layer in and work with. So I wanted to give you some examples or ideas of like how this could work. So first off, just the video itself, we can actually modify that, make it black and white. We can work with the idea of colorizing it, making it more colorful, or selecting a color like blue, for instance, and then working with that as the foundational element. We can change exposure of the video and the gamma, so we can actually bring it, make it a little bit darker or a little bit more contrasty. We can also take the video and add some effects like this mosaic effect right here. Or we could go back to normal, black and white here, and then what we could do is even blur the video. As you can kind of see, this blurring element might be really interesting, especially when we start actually adding some photographs. So for instance, I could take this photograph, which we can just kind of transition into, and we can use it to kind of like talk a little bit more about like what your topic is. So the photograph should have meaning in that way. Another possibility is to take just a normal photograph and blend it with the video. So for instance, you can take this photograph, which is just, something, whatever, textual, and then just kind of blend it in different ways. So for instance, this is a lightning blend, so that it makes everything brighter. This is a difference blend. This is like crazy, right? So you can kind of work with that. Here's an example of a multiply blend, which actually makes everything a little bit darker and more deep. And so working with your original video of you plus some texture or other video or other photographic elements can make something really interesting. We can obviously zoom into the photograph and actually have that animated as well. Or we could actually pan or move the photograph from left to right. What works with a photograph also works with words. So for instance, we could take the word and make it really large and have it interacting in the same similar ways with different compositing effects like difference. We can even have the words type on the screen if we want to. You can video record things as well, which is really great. And so here are some of the things that you can do with video. Now, video will be the most powerful thing that you can capture. So I've got a list of do's and don'ts for like how we can use videos. So I'll start with the don'ts. Whatever you do, don't take vertical video. Handheld vertical video is going to be really hard to composite into this rectangle, right? Another thing is try to limit the camera movement of the video you capture. So for instance, if you're going to do handheld, stabilize your hand or prop your hand up on something so that we're seeing something nice and clean. Don't move the video a lot. If you move it a lot, it's really hard to composite. It just has too much energy and it's really going to take away from like whatever it's overlaying. We can composite in a similar way to the way we've composited with photography. So you can kind of see how we can change like this video and then composite it with the video of you talking. And if we blur one of the two, like so for instance, if we have your video of you black and white and blurred, and then we add another element of video on top of that, it'll actually still give a sense of like what you're saying, but now we've got a different like feeling altogether. The same as with photos, you can take videos of texture as well. That's really useful. But whatever you do, try to make sure that you get the video without a lot of movement in it. In fact, some of the do's are like hold the video for 10 seconds. It might seem like an extreme amount, but minimum 10 seconds of video. We don't want 8 minutes of video. We don't want a minute of video, but we do want at least 10 seconds because what we'll do is come into the video and then maybe go away from the video. And we want it held long enough where we can actually use that video. If it's too short, we'll see the phone moving during that time, and we just don't want the camera movement. If you're going to be working with yourself as a composited element, don't take video of other people, because you can't really composite that. So if you do take video of other people, make sure that those people are the only thing that are going to be in the frame, and you're going to be removed. Don't worry about sound at all. So for instance, the sound that we're hearing from the faucet, we're going to remove that. So all you're going to hear is just the voice, okay? And then don't overdo the action in the video, right? If there's a lot of stuff going on in the video, we might not be able to pay attention to your words. So those are some don'ts. Some do's kind of go with the idea of don'ts. We've already talked about one do, which is 10 seconds at least of footage, because we're going to need that kind of footage. We can always trim it and make it smaller, but it's hard to actually make that video go longer without slow motion or those kinds of things. Get lots of texture, whether it's photographs, you don't have to worry about how long you hold it, but if you want to do video with texture, like here's a video of grass on a nice frosty day, you can kind of see, as long as you got about 10 seconds worth of that video, it's going to work really well. Try getting close up, right, to whatever you're shooting. Remember, we're going to be compositing this. So we've got a video of you, so something really close, like your hands writing out some words or a sentence, maybe the actual work that you've done in order to like create your text may be interesting, right? So just have your phone stationary and then move the things in the rectangle should be the things that we're watching. Think about how the video relates to whatever text or whatever you're talking about. So for instance, if I'm talking about a spoon, obviously I would be working with the idea of videotaping like spoons, and maybe seeing how just playing with like that object in front of the camera until I get about 10 seconds worth of footage that looks really kind of interesting, right? So especially if I'm talking about spoons, but you won't be talking about spoons. Don't move the camera. We've talked about that before in the don'ts, but if you're going to have action, the action should take place inside the frame, not outside the frame. So if you're holding the camera, hold the camera steady, like this picture of this water running off of the falls here. Don't allow don't move the frame so much, because it'll be easier to transition in and out of this back to your speaking or back into another object. Remember, the idea is we want this to look intentional and smooth, and if the frame is moving, and if you're moving the entire camera with your hands, it's not going to look as smooth as we hope. And things that look boring just in general might look really great when they're layered, right? So think about the idea of layering 2 additional videos on top of you, and just think of how those textures and those elements can actually work together. So for instance, it's like this handwriting with this element of texture, that's 2 videos, and they're working really well together. And so these are things that you'll want to start thinking about. It might be boring, as each individual thing might be a little bit boring, but added together, it becomes very complex. And again, try to focus on things that you think are meaningful to what you're talking about, right? Hopefully this helps a little bit. Get some ideas in your eye, and I look forward to talking with you a little bit more about what you guys should be doing to get video at this point. Thanks.